What's good with you, YouTube? Antayami here, back with another video. And in today's video, we have 3 more replays that I'm gonna go over very quickly and then showcase my deck list at the end of the video, kind of how we always do it here. So let's further ado, let's go ahead and hop into our rounds here. So let's go ahead and see. So our first round we have versus, by the way, I think I'm going second all 3 of these replays. So we are going second. I think we're going against ice barriers on this one, but we have Azet, the Stellar, we have the Labels, Curse, and Sylvie. So our opponent is going first, of course, and they are playing ice barriers. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and do their little ice barrier shenanigans. And I forget what their exact inboard is, but it's pretty strong. Yeah, and I have like no going second cards here, so I'm just allowing my opponent to pretty much full combo here, and they're going for like to pretty much like the draw 4 combo here, where they get to draw 1 off of Coral Dragon and 3 off of this card. I think it's it is 4. So yeah, so he draws 4 and he ends on the Lancia, the Crocosaurus, and 1 set card. And I'm assuming that he's probably on hand traps because he's going for the draw phase or the draw combo. And I don't know how much ice barrier cards cost, but I don't think they're very expensive. So I draw into the Label Start Vengeance, and we start our turn with Curse, and then he immediately reacts to this. So I'm assuming he doesn't have experience versus Eldlich cards. So yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and react with this and pop it without even me paying 800 life points. So if I have a second copy, then whatever. So yeah, but this is good because it's preventing me to get Golden Lord and just sending Lancia into the graveyard and outing that card immediately. And as we can tell, we see him dropping Warlock and Nibiru, so hand traps. So we'll go ahead and activate Curse. Curse is going to dump Conquistador pretty much for like follow up at this point. And then we're going to go ahead and go with the normal summon Sylvie because we have no spells in hand. We need access to a spell. So this card needs to resolve immediately. So we go ahead and we do add the Tails here. And that cuts on the rest of my hand. And then we get hit with the Drone Lockbird. Classic. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Labels, the White Witch effect. And we're going to dump the Tails. Chain link 1, chain link 2, and then chain link 3. The Lancia is going to special summon Median, which is kind of weird here, but yeah, whatever. We're gonna go ahead and set our Tails here, and then this is gonna dump our trap. And then since we're under draw, we can't search off the trap, but it's okay. We're using the trap card to kind of keep my follow-up engraved, but allows me to summon out the Vengeance, which is super glad we hard drew it here. And then I paid 400 life points to pop the back row. It was a bluff. And we're going to go ahead and summon out our Wolf. And our Wolf is going to deal with a lot of his Ice Barriers cards because they do need to be face up for them to apply their kind of like their floodgating effects. So we're going to go ahead and activate Wolf. And we're going to discard a Stellar because he summoned the monster, the Ice Barrier monster, where every time I activate a monster effect on field, I had to discard a card. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead into battle phase, and I made a misplay here because for some reason I forgot on Omega, when monsters are set face down, they don't tell you anymore. So for some reason I just forgot this monster was like that big, so I crashed into this. So this was obviously a misplay, and then we're gonna have to pass turn on this. So I could have cleared something, but I didn't. So it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and use Conquistador on end phase to set the elixir here, and we're going to pass turn. I'm gonna go ahead and out the Lancia because of really important text on this card, that this card has to be synchro summoned and face up for it to get his floating effect. So I went ahead and just added that card before he get to flip it. So that was the idea in this particular matchup. So he's gonna flip over all his floodgates, and he's gonna activate the Crocosaurus, and he targets my Poplar, and obviously it can't be destroyed by card effects because of my Bells, so misplay on my opponent's part. Georgius is now going to come down and is going to summon a Ice Barrier monster from the graveyard, and it's going to summon back the Revealer, and then he's going to make another Lancia, and then now he's going to basically just beat over my board here. and normal summons, and then makes the Ice Jade monster, which is again very scary inboard here. Like, so we're gonna do our best to play around as much as possible, and we're gonna go ahead and bounce the wolf, because I do want to make sure that we wolf my opponent's board again. This is pretty much our win condition going second versus ice barriers. Lynx is gonna bring out Warlock, and I don't care because we're not gonna have trap cards. And then we're gonna go ahead and activate Sanguine on end phase, and then summon our Golden Lord here. We top deck into a curse, which means that we have to set it due to Warlock, and it won't be face up, so it won't get its dump effect, which is kind of unfortunate, but not the end of the world here. Next, we're gonna go into the Fallen of Angel, and the reason why I did this is to play around Nib, just in case my opponent had Nib. I wanted to make sure I had a way to float into Nib, or worst case scenario, I can crash this guy into one of my opponent's monsters and then bring out the big guy. So kind of like double protecting my abilities here. He goes Ice Jade to banish my a stellar effect, and he can't do that, so we can go ahead and go a stellar, Book Moon everything, and we're going to go ahead and just pretty much clean up the board here. So we're going to go ahead and summon all these monsters out, and we're going to add back more follow-up. And since now we have access to curse to activate its effect, we're going to go ahead and just pretty much get as much follow-up as we possibly can, and we will just put up a lot of bodies on board and just beat over his board. And again, the Nib is going to drop off here, and since we're going to go ahead and pop that face down monster, it's not going to proc its effect. We're going to get the follow-up off of this, and we're just going to establish a board. My opponent is on absolutely nothing, and we win the game on the spot. So that is basically what's going on here. We win this game number one, this is game number one. We actually just went second in this position. So yep. We're gonna go ahead and move on to game number 2. All right, let's go ahead and make it over to match or game number 2 here, versus, I forget what deck this is, but I am going first in this replay. I think I said at the beginning of this video that I will be going second every single video. Well, oops, I lied. So in this particular hand, I know I played through, I think, a Fua, a Nib, and another Nib. So let's go ahead and hop into this and show you guys how I go first with this particular list. So then now I first start with Ezet discarding the Conquistador, and we're gonna search for the Sylvie here. No Droll, which is fantastic. So now we can normal summon Sylvie, and we can go Sylvie searching out our Tails of the White Forest, because we already had our Droll checked, so we can get a little bit greedy with this card. Then we get hit with the Fua here, which, if you guys know about White Forest don't particularly care to get Fua. They give your opponent at least 2 draws, and you can pretty much end on the full end board, and it's pretty fine, right? So yeah, so this doesn't really bother us too much. So then we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna special summon out Asmina Ezet. We're gonna go into the Synchro 6. Synchro 6 is gonna pitch the Tails. We're gonna search for Rusia. And what I was thinking about this was that I was going to commit and XYZ or synchro summon with this guy. And I was like, I don't know why I did that. But I'm not going for Ezet or, sorry, a Stellar here. So I guess it was just better for me to search this now. And then later on search the Delabelles of the White Witch with Tails. So either way, I still get to whatever I need. And this card can also give me a free draw if I need to. We're gonna go ahead and set our Tails back. Tails is gonna activate, adding our Delabelles, the White Witch. We're gonna go into the Synchro 8. Synchro 8 is gonna add back our Tails. Rusia is gonna summon herself out. We're gonna use her effect to discard the Simple Spells of the White Forest, and we're gonna reset it back. And we're gonna draw into the Sanguine. We're gonna use White Witch to pitch our Sanguine here, and now we have Sanguine plus Conquistador, so that's going to give us Eldlich rotation here, which is really good. We're going to dump the Curse. Curse is going to search out our Phila. Phila is going to search out our Vengeance, and we're going to go ahead and summon out our Vengeance, banishing our 2 spell and traps here, and we're going to go ahead and boost. Use the effect of Sanguine to set the Conquistador, and then we're going to set 2, and our opponent held Nib here. Now, there was a line where I could have played around the nib here, and I'll talk about that in a future video on some combo lines that help you play through nib, and also some combo lines that can help you play a little bit better into droll and stuff like that. But yeah, my opponent held the nib here, which is pretty much correct here. Wait until I go for my full inboard because we don't have as many monsters in our deck besides the one soul. But yeah, we're not playing the deception or things of that nature. So we're gonna go ahead and get hit with the nib here, and then now we're gonna go ahead and use Rusia's effect to summon herself back out, just to shuffle more resources back into our graveyard. And then we're gonna go ahead and go into Sylvie, and then I think, yeah, okay, so I did go ahead and synchro off the 2 monsters into Visas, just because, you know, the way I look at with Fua, if you can add one more interruption for one more draw, it's pretty much always worth it, unless your opponent is already drawing like a bajillion cards. Maybe it's not worth doing that, but in this particular situation, I feel like it was worth it. So I went ahead and searched for the counter trap. And what is going to happen here is that my opponent knows that the only way I can activate this card if I control a synchro monster, and that can give up the battle phase, and I have, like, you know, it's white forest, extreme follow up here. So the idea was to burn his battle phase, take away all his resources, and then win the game. So my opponent immediately goes for Cosmic Cyclone onto the reframing. I just went ahead and negated it because I'd rather not have this card banished because I can recur it. And then it's the Material Actor cards. Okay, so this is really fun. Goofy deck, by the way. So then we're gonna special summon these guys, and they all like extend and search, and they're rank 3. The deck is kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually really solid. But it's Goblin Biker Material Actors, so it's really like explosive, right? So of course, as you guys can tell, this is a game 2 situation. I lost game number 1. I think I threw game number 1. I think I had it, but I messed up because I didn't read all the goblin cards. And then of course I went game 2 and 3, but this is game 2 of that particular match. And the reason why I wanted to showcase this match in this particular situation is to show how I played through like Fua and Nib, and how to, you know, prepare for all those tragedies, right? So he makes the Babunga, searching out the Doug Charger. Doug Charger is going to search, and then now since monster was detached from a Goblin Biker, I think it's just from any XYZ in general, he gets to suck up my Visas, which at this point he doesn't really do much on the field. He was just there to make sure my counter trap went live. So basically now I'm just basically waiting a good point to Torrential, and then my Eldlich package is going to oh, I set this card instead of the Sanguine. Very interesting I did that. Huh. Maybe I'm not sure of the reason why, but I feel like that should have been a Sanguine here. So these cards can actually be interruption, not follow up. But maybe I thought that I had so much front row that I can just use these cards to just straight up follow up. A little weird. Should have been a Sanguine here. And now he's summoning the I don't know what these guys are even called. I honestly don't really know this deck too well. I played it once in the TCG and it didn't seem like it did enough, but in Genesis it seems interesting, but I still don't think it's like good enough. They're just like a whole bunch of level 3 extenders that works actually really cool with the Goblin Biker strategy. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like seeing different decks out there outside of Radiant Typhoon. So it's, you know, it's pretty cool. Then now this is his normal summon, so he normal summoned the Goblin Biker Clatter Exploiter, and that's gonna bring back 1 from the graveyard. And then now he goes back into this card again. I think that's the second one. Yep. And he's gonna special summon 1 from the deck, and then this one's gonna discard a card and special summon a normal 3 element monster from the deck. And I feel like if he controls a certain monster, it can special summon. Oh, if I discard a normal monster, activate this effect, then you can special summon a Material Actor monster instead. So yeah, he does that. Searches for the continuous spell, the meltdown. He goes into this, and I was a little scared because I thought he was gonna go into like Raider's Night and do something crazy, but I don't know if Raider Night costs points, or whatever. But he was just using this as kind of like generic removal, which is whatever. Popping Eldlich cards, you know, And I'm sure that was known, so that was kind of everything here is known. So yeah, popping that was probably the weirdest pop here. Not smart for my opponent at all. So I go ahead and take this damage here. And then he makes a Zeus here, a 3-mat Zeus. And I went ahead and I was like, okay, so I can definitely out this very easily. As long as I don't get hit with like a random hand trap, like a droll or something, I should be fine. So we want to go ahead and we're going to reset this back out. I'm trying to prompt him to Zeus now so I can float with my Eldlich cards, and we are going to definitely float with our White Forest cards. So nope, he doesn't bite the bullet here. And I don't have any White Forest synchro monsters. So yeah, we're kind of hurting on this particular follow-up here. So it's just put us in a weird spot here. But I top deck very luckily, and now we have to think about how do we outplay this Zeus, because this Zeus is very vital for us. He knows everything basically except for the card I drew for turn. He knows this is in my hand. He probably forgot at this point, but he definitely know that card is in my hand, and I have to make a really smart play here on how to get my engine back rolling, because I don't have a stellar, so a stellar won't trigger. And we have to make sure we play really smart around the Zeus. So we go White Witch sending the Black Awakening, and my opponent is triggering this guy. Quick effect, he can detach an XYZ material from a monster on either player's side of the field, summon it, and then of course it's going to summon another one from the graveyard. So I'll go ahead and chain link one, and I'm trying to make sure I eventually have Vengeance up again, because now if I go Vengeance summon itself out, if he doesn't change Zeus here, then we can set up a lot of White Forest pushes here, and it checks the Zeus. And I don't mind this getting Zeus because none of this really kind of matters at the moment, and I want to resolve this. So if this sticks, I can activate this, get into my White Forest engine again, and we're off to the races. So I think the best spot for him to do here is to just automatically just Zeus wipe here and pray. Because if he does that, I actually don't have any plays here. But my opponent didn't capitalize on that. Guess he's not used to the White Forest strategy. And I went ahead and searched for a Stellar, or sorry, a Zet, because now if he Zeus wipes here, I can use Awakening, or I can use Sanguine to set a random spell and trap, and then we can go ahead and do full White Forest combo again, and he loses. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna reset the Golden Land. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that he's Zeus here, and I'm like, okay. So I decided to go for the Ezet push here, which I'm very surprised because I feel like I should have went for the Vengeance push here to kind of force out the Zeus here, because if he doesn't Zeus before the monster is normal summon or special summon, I can pop it and then get a free summon off of that as well. So it's very interesting. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to search for Sylvie, and then we're going to reset our tails here, getting some value. Normal summon Sylvie effect is going to search for woes, and then now he's going to use the Boom Mock. And I don't think this does anything. Once per turn, you can detach. You can special the card from your. Also, you can special the card to the next turn. Okay, so it's just summoning stuff out. So not sure. Oh yeah, because he has big Babanga on the field. So yeah, he's gonna suck it up. So I can't synchro summon. So fair enough. We're going to go ahead and go into our Vengeance, and this is going to force the Zeus here. We're going to go ahead and try to push back the Zeus, and we're going to go ahead and chain our Sanguine here, and we're going to get our Golden Lord online, and we're going to go ahead and activate Golden Lord's effect to summon itself out, and we're going to set that. We're going to go ahead and add or set our Golden Lance Forever, which is basically an Omni Negate, by attributing any zombie monster as long as I control a Golden Lord on the field. And now we still have access to Vengeance and all the beautiful Eldlich follow-up, which is fantastic. So now I get hit with another nib. Yeah, I don't understand this nib. This nib is a little interesting. Not exactly sure why he did that. I did try to go into battle phase here, but didn't make any sense here. So yeah, opponent drops another nib, and we are gonna go ahead and set our Sanguine here. And my opponent has still a good amount of cards in hand, so he definitely has more card advantage than I do. And funny enough, I didn't summon Vengeance. It's just such a weird game. By the way, these games are kind of on the older side. My deck list is completely different from how I played here versus now how it is, because I haven't uploaded in a while. So yeah, this is extremely weird playing on my part. I'm not sure why I just didn't summon Vengeance, pop nib, summon, like, you know, attack directly, apply pressure. Not sure what's going on here, but yeah. So yeah, he's gonna summon the Doug Charger, and again, he went through a lot of his his engine here, so I don't know how much more he has left. But judging the fact that he searched a trap off of this, and it's like nothing to keep pushing, it's interesting. But he also has breakout here, so he could definitely do some things here. I went ahead and went for the Sanguine because obviously I can't summon anything else here, so I don't mind being zombie locked here. And then this also allows me to have my Golden Land Forever active as well, just in case he decides to do something crazy. And now we're gonna have this going into our turn, so this card is gonna protect whatever interruption my opponents have. And I only have 13 cards in my deck, which is insane. A lot of deck trimming here. So back on the up, we're gonna go ahead and use Wolves of the White Forest. I probably could have got away with using Wolves of the White Forest before, but it makes sense to hold it because if I summon it before Sanguine, then he would just beat over my White Forest monster. And if I summon like Sylvie wouldn't have searched anything of value, and a Stellar would have beat over, and anything else would have not mattered. So it was smart to hold Woes here, which was correct. We're gonna summon our Stellar, and there's a lot of things going on here, a lot of things. But since I feel like I'm up in advantage here, because again, White Forest recurs itself pretty much infinitely. And the Eldlich engine pretty much can recycle this up infinitely as long as I have light points. And yeah, my opponent is just boned here, so I just went for the lazy approach to just like beat over this, to kind of like out, you know, the Goblin Biker monsters from coming out the graveyard, because I'm pretty sure it's only during the main phase, which that one's during the main phase, and the other ones are probably during the main phase. So yeah, I wanted to out that, and then I ran into this card, which again, not too familiarized with the Goblin Biker strategy. He knew that he didn't have to activate anything, because if I went for an attack, he basically just lowered my monsters by 1,000, which is like, okay, whatever, right? And then he goes into the Goblin Biker Grand Pile Up. Oh, which is really, really strong here. And he starts sucking up my cards. He sucked up my counter trap. So I'm just like, And then like, again, I could have used a counter trap to stop this card, but it just seemed like a very bad trade. So it didn't really make sense to use that there. And yeah, this guy is just a pain. He just sucked up my counter trap. If I reestablish Golden Lord, then it has less value now. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to summon out our Vengeance, which I should have summoned last turn. And then he's using Pile Up to attach a monster from the graveyard, I think. Yeah. You can banish this card from the graveyard. Target one Goblin XYZ monster you control, and one card in either player's graveyard attaches. So yeah, he's actually using this as like a DD Crow. So he's gonna suck up my Vengeance here, which is, yeah, he's getting a lot of value out of that trap card. So we're gonna go ahead and set another card off of the Sanguine here, and then we're gonna use Golden Lord to summon itself back out, and then we're gonna set one and pass. I get in a Stellar. Is there a reason? Oh, because in this particular situation, I forgot. Since I went first, I started out one of my Sylvies. So instead of having 3 Sylvies, I'm down to 2 Sylvies. And all my tuners are out of my deck that I can summon off a Stellar. So I don't have any targets for a Stellar. So we're in a very weird situation here. So I went ahead and draw phase, popped a Crazy Beast because, again, all his monsters are in the main phase. So I want to make sure that he doesn't get anything going here. And he drew Cosmic Cyclone off the top, which is really scary because now it interrupts my Conquistador, which I think he targeted my Conquistador, right? No, okay. So then, yeah, then he goes Crazy Beast, suck up the Conquistador, saving himself from being popped. And I went ahead and banished this because this one is a active card that he can use on his turn to, I guess, get more advantage. So Cosmic Cyclone targeting this, and I'm just going to use it to banish that. Might as well. And then he goes Material Actor, hits one card. Okay. Then we're going to summon that guy out, summoning this guy from the deck, I believe. I believe it only summons from deck. It might summon from deck. Let's see. If this card is normal special or flip face, you can add blah blah blah. Oh, it's 1 level 3 normal monster from your graveyard. Okay, so yeah. So now he's just summoning a ton of bodies here. He goes into Crocosaurus, which is like completely fine. He gets 2 draws here. Normal summon, special summon. He's still applying a lot of pressure here. I still don't know how he gets over this guy because he's the only one that's saving my skin at the moment. Battle phase, because I don't think he has any more interruptions or any good cards that he can go into to apply more pressure. This card has no effect because he only has 1 card in hand. He still got Goblin Bikers. Don't think he has any Goblin Bikers in the grave that activates from right now. And then he has this guy. So the only real interruption is this one dealing with my spell and traps, and this one dealing with monster effects. So we're gonna go ahead and use Eldlich cards to re-establish ourselves here, and we drew into another Stellar, which is not gonna do us any freaking good here. We went ahead and went for the Fallen Angel here because I thought it was right to do that. And then now I'm gonna use Golden Lore's effect to summon this stuff back out. And then that's gonna trigger the Stellar in the graveyard. Battle phase, beat over the Cicada King. And then this is gonna crash into this monster. So now Proxy's effect is summon out my Golden Land, or sorry, my Eldlich the Mad Golden Lord. And yeah, we're just gonna I'm gonna beat over this and then take control of this, and the game is pretty much over. We're gonna just pretty much win off of our Eldlich stuff. I think he's out of deck. So yeah, that is gonna be game number 2. All right, now we're gonna showcase game number 3. All right, so we have game number 3 here versus Ice Barriers again. We have Drawn Lockport, Sanguine, Phila, and a Stellar. I can tell you right now, this is probably a game 3 or game 2 situation. And I have multiple of these because it's good for going second. So we're going to let our opponents pop off here. And yeah, surprise, this is Atlantean Mermail Ice Barriers, which is probably very scary. But we have Droll here, so his inboard won't be as crazy, but he does get a double search here, which is fortunate. And he gets another search here because of that trap card. So that Droll, he played around Droll really well. He summoned his Georgius to make the Dragite Mirror Mage his face up, and he also makes the Lancia. And he still has the freezing chains of the Ice Spears, which means that if he controls 3 or more Ice Spear monsters, I believe they can't be affected by monster effects that were specimen from the extra deck. So this is not an Ice Barrier monster, if anybody is wondering. Thank God. That card would be so much more broken if it was. And then he makes this, which is the first time I ever seen this card in Ice Barriers, so I was really scared of what he was going to make off this, but whatever. So now we gotta break this board. Not bad for Droll, by the way. It's just a really solid inboard for my opponent. So we go ahead and start with the Phila, and we're gonna go ahead and get that pretty much negated by the Dragite. And then next we're gonna go for a normal summon Stellar, because if you read this effect only procs when your opponent is special summoning, but when you're normal summoning, you're fine. And the idea, just like we did in game 1, is to set up our Synchro 6 to Book of Moon everything, so we're free to play. So that's all we're pretty much doing here. So we're gonna go with Stellar effect, summoning Sylvie Chainlink 1, Lancia Chainlink 2. Lancia is gonna summon the General Raiho, and we're gonna go ahead and search for Tails, and we're gonna discard Phila because it's pretty much dead this turn, and we're gonna, add Tails. After that, we are going to Wolf Tamer to Boogamoon everything here. And yep, he's gonna summon out the Georgias, which just doesn't really matter at this point, but we're gonna go ahead and just book everything on our opponent's side of the field. We're gonna go ahead and set a Golden Land here with the Sanguine, and then we're gonna use Ezet's effect to summon itself out. And then here we're gonna apply a lot of pressure here, because now we're gonna recycle one of our spells to get the White Witch active to get ourselves into the Vengeance, and we're gonna still apply a lot of this beautiful pressure here. Yeah, I just feel like this deck has a really naturally good matchup versus Icebarius, which is really good. Yeah, White Force randomly just have really good matches versus just random decks sometimes. So we're just gonna go ahead and just banish this guy out. It doesn't really matter what you banish here, because we can probably just beat over it and it's just fine. Actually, no, you don't beat over this. You want to remove this card, because if you do beat over it, it does get the effect to summon, and it's gonna summon a Trishula thing that banished 3 on my side of the field, which is kind of gross. Then now we're gonna use Vengeance to summon itself back out, and then we're gonna use the effect Sylvie, and we're gonna go ahead and make the Wolf, because we can push for game here. Then next we're gonna pop the Dragite and summoning our Arcia, and yes, each one of our White Forest Synchro monsters is applying double piercing, so this is beyond game. So yep, my Dillabelle's Queens is the biggest I've ever seen. It's at 4K, and yeah, we're just gonna just destroy everything. We're gonna use her effect to pitch the Phila, just for like some nice little follow-up or more pressure, because now I can use this to apply more pressure. And my opponent can't nib me here, because it'll get rid of my Vengeance, but it won't get rid of my board, so it doesn't really matter. And then now we just gonna swing into the board, and we win through an OTK, which is amazing. All right, well, I'll show you guys my current deck list that I've been cooking with in Genesis currently at the moment, and it's been showing me a lot of success. So let's go ahead and hop into that. All right, so this is my current deck list at the moment. So far, I've been enjoying how this has been playing thus far. I will like to make some changes, and I'm not going to go over too many details, because I think a lot of things kind of make a lot of sense. There's a couple cards I want to talk about before we push forward with this. One is this. So I traded my Dagaris for 10 points for another copy of Droll and Nib, because I thought going second was more important than going first. And then this was my Dagaris, my Dagaris replacement. It's very similar, but not similar in a lot of scenarios, right? Because there's some hands where I have so much advantage that you don't want to discard your entire hand, but there's a lot of hands where you don't have that, and it's worth it. So it almost works similar. It is basically Timu Dagaris, but hey, we can still make it, because it takes 2 level 4 light monsters, and Sylvie plus Rusia is like 2 level 4 lights, so it just works out perfectly. And in games 2 and 3, of course, we made this instead of making this, and we searched the counter trap instead to make our inboard a lot stronger. And yeah, it's just our way of holding down Omni Negates and stuff like that. It's really good. But yeah, I think outside of that, that's all I need to talk about for this particular list. I'll probably go over some like actual combos and stuff like that, how you guys play through Nib, and just different scenarios of that natures and stuff like that, because it's a really fun deck. It's really fun. I like it. It has a good grind game. It has a good aggression, good mid-range style. It's really all over the place, and I really like that. And I think it has a very fair spot into the meta. So yeah, but anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this deck, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.